Start again. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcel Duffy, and I was asked to come along today just to probably give you a bit of an insight into the way our company have gone from a bricks and mortar, traditional auctioneers, to e-tail online. A little bit about me. Go back to where we was. A little bit about me. I was in the IT industry for 17 years or so, and this auction house is actually owned by my family, and they asked me to join the company and try and transform it slightly. Some of those years in IT was spent teaching 11 to 18 year olds, as you'll probably see by my slides in a minute. So I eventually jumped on board, and the first few weeks I spent just getting a feel for the place, feel for the business, and how it all strung together. And I suppose in the back of my mind, subconsciously, as I'm doing this, my IT hat was still on. So then it was a case of proposing to the MD what I thought. I'll go back. My remit was to improve the company, expand, make it a bit better, more professional. That was the remit I had. I know it's a quite big remit, but that, hey ho, that's how it was. Yeah, and once I got a feel for the place, as I said, subconsciously I think IT was always at the heart of what I was looking at, and I've been in the industry for a long time, so I've seen everything in that perspective. And I suppose the biggest thing I saw was we didn't have any sort of reach. We're based about 2 miles away in Chadderton, and all the marketing we did, billboard advertising, local press, radio, it was just all local. And I suppose my first thought was in order to expand, you need to tell more people about yourself. I know it sounds logical, but that's the way I thought. And in order to do that, I think the way forward is online presence. At the time, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, we had 2 to 3 traditional live sales in a warehouse with a rostrum and a gavel, traditional auctioneers, and we had 2 online sales. So previous to me getting there, they had already dipped their toe into online retail, but it was just a toe dipping exercise. They didn't really know how far it would go, or how successful it would be. So what we did was, my first protocol was this is the old logo, the old branding. The first thing we needed to do if we was going to have an online marketplace was to modernise, become a little bit more, modern. So you can see the difference straight away. So we went through a 3-month rebranding exercise where, believe it or not, the colour orange is associated with a bargain. We didn't do that market research, obviously, but it is if you think of EasyJet and places like that. So we did quite a lot of background work, research, decided on a new rebrand, and that's us. So once we got to that stage, it was a case of, for me, harnessing experts to come into the business, and I'm not ashamed of saying that. I don't think one man or one company are good at everything. Certainly not our place. So with me again, going back to my IT background, there's lots of different expertise within one sector there. So our next thing was, if we're going to go out there into the marketplace online, the fear of the unknown, we need a new shop front. So I called in a few favours, and we built a new website at a significant investment, I might add. And it was difficult, it really was difficult persuading the MD and the other directors to invest, because you don't know what you're getting for your money at that time. So once we had I think there's another slide here. This is the marketplace slide, I suppose. So this is our rebranding exercise and everything what goes with that. We tried to, since the rebrand, get in everyone's faces, so we become very familiar, at least locally at the start. So we've got a new web presence. We're compatible with iPads, iPhones, etc. Now what do? People know we're out there, what we're selling, how we're going to cope with whatever demand we're going to get, I suppose. And then oh, let me go back one. So then I suppose then it was a kind of marketing. People know we're there. What we're selling. What are we going to do now? So it was a case of email distribution, trying to get an email list together of people who have bought from us, and not just, at the time we had an email distribution list of 40,000 people, and I think 38,000 was based in Poland. So it's not relevant. So we need a relevant mailing list, tell people what we do, advertising, AdWords. This goes a long way, really. Well, it did go a long way too. Once you've done that, fulfill that exercise, it's quite easy because you get traffic directed at you. So we've gone through the whole marketing exercise. We're online, we've got this fancy new website. And people know who we are, and I think that was a continued journey really, and it always will be. You can never stay static, you know. It's about keep going and diversifying, as Simon did mention. So this is just a quick, I've done it back to front really, a bit of a quick 10 minutes into what we've done, and I'm going to tell you about the reasoning behind everything. So as you can see now, since launching our website, you can probably see the statistics there. We went from a keyword ranking of nothing to 25. What's she put down? Anyway, you can see what it says on the board there, can't you? And it is, what the exercise I'm trying to prove here is we have spent a lot of money on harnessing this data, which has probably enabled us to grow again. I'll go back to what I said a minute ago about billboard exercises, press. You can't quantify your input for what you're spending. With online, certainly one of the added benefits is we know exactly how much traffic is coming to us and what people are spending based on our own spend. And you can do that down to a specific person. So that's a major advantage instead of spending X amount of pounds at a billboard campaign or a press release or whatever. We don't know what we're getting back and how many people have seen that and come in. When you're online, an online e-commerce presence, you have the function and capability of doing that, which I think, we was busy fools at first, and now we're not. It's much more professional, targeted marketing. Let me see. A big factor, a massive factor, was to engage with social media. I think this encompasses the whole e-commerce side of things. So a lot of advertising, marketing is based around Facebook, Google, Twitter, and it's easy to do, and it's just about engaging really. And I think you need to do that and engage with people in order to go. You can go in half-hearted or the whole hog, I think, and this is the whole hog. So reasons behind our strategy, I've mentioned, we was aiming for a bigger target audience, both demographically and geographically too. We was an auction house in Oldham. Now we're a national company, I would say. The one thing opening up an e-commerce site, online retail does bring is the whole of the country, if not Europe, to your doorstep. And one thing I will say, you need to be prepared for that, because you can't prepare, you don't know how much you're going to get in through that, but it does open that window. It really, really does. We could have been in Oldham, we still are, for another 10 years and we was happy at one stage to get business from Ashton, which is 5 miles further. Now I'd say 10% of our business comes from local. We ship everywhere these days. And one good thing for us anyway, I'm not sure if it worked for anybody else, but we're an auction house and we have people bidding against each other in the auction house. That's what it's all about. We've noticed online people pay more. I'm not too sure why. I don't know if it's because they're not bartering or bidding against the person next to them in a warehouse. When they're at home, in the comfort of their own homes, with a cup of coffee, and they're bidding against each other, I think personally, they've just got the mindset of, I want that item, and they do obviously bid a lot more. So that's a massive advantage for our business, because that's what we do. We sell things to the highest bidder. Another important factor to mention is its resource. It probably costs us 10 men in a day. Actually, no, 10 men in 4 days to actually set up an auction, run it, do all the finance behind it. We've realised that one man can set up an auction, because it doesn't have to be displayed for the public, obviously, run the auction online and then do all the figures in the space of 24 hours. So that's a massive difference in resource. When I first started this exercise, we run 3 live auctions a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, with 2 online. Now we do 2 live a week, Tuesday, Saturday, with 10 online. And I think probably about 90 to 95% of our revenue comes from online sales. I have tried to persuade the boss to go to 1 a week, Saturday, because I think the Tuesday one's pointless. We only get traders in, we don't pay as much money again. But he just likes the idea of the traditional. He wants to stick with his roots, but I'll get there. I will get there eventually. Right, next slide, I think. So what's changed for us? Yeah, well, as I've just explained, our business has increased tenfold, if not more. Yeah, it's just gone massive. And at times it was very, very difficult to keep up with it. But I think we've learned as we've gone. It's been a massive learning curve for all of us. An enjoyable one though, I would say. We've actually opened more premises on the strength of that. In Liverpool, we're opening some more premises in Milton Keynes towards the end of the year. So this is a direct consequence of going online. I truly believe it's opened so many doors and opportunities for us. It really has. What else has changed? We used to ship probably 3 items a week. We had 1 person on reception who'd take a few telephone inquiries, how much the shipping was. We actually got a department now of 3 people, and believe me, they're busy. The lady she has her own office. She takes all day sales inquiries about shipping all around the country and further afield, with 2 other people doing the actual wrapping, packing, dealing with couriers, etc. So you can see the difference straight away in terms of, how open we've come to the rest of the country, if you like. We do a lot. I'd say 75–80% of everything we sell is shipped, which brings its own problems, obviously, I suppose. We've become an intelligent business. We have online chat, which is part of our website. We are an auction house, a no reserve auction, sold as seen. So with that far afield kind of expectation, it's difficult to get that across from, Mrs. Smith in Kent who wants to buy a kettle, and when ship it to Kent, it doesn't work. It's an auction house. I'll have to say 99% of our products do work, but it was difficult. So what we've done, and online presences and technologies enabled us to do, is we do video appraisals now, for example. So if Joe Bloggs wants to buy, I don't know, a kettle, we'll stick with that example, we will actually put water in the kettle, video it working if they want us to, and email it back to him. So that brings the whole national thing local again, if you like, and takes away a lot of issues for us. I think we think more nationally now. We used to have a fleet of 2 Mercedes Sprinters, that was our fleet, and a couple of vans, and now we've got 10 40-footers up and down the M6 with our own branding on. So there's a big difference for me. That's quantifiable. That says a lot, in my opinion. Pros and cons. Again, I think these 3 interlink, the 3 pros: massive growth, nationally recognised, winning more business on the back of that. The more out there you are, the more familiar you become, the more opportunities open. And for me, standing here today, that's probably an opportunity, I suppose. Cons. Little mistakes cost us big now. I was having a staff meeting this morning at 8 a.m. and I use this example. I try to get over to our staff now that we are national. We are a national, perhaps international business. When, again, Joe Bloggs buys some bar stools and he wanted half a dozen red ones, and we give him pink ones or blue ones, you can just come back in. And we've just shipped 15 pallets to Ireland. It's not as easy to just bring that stock back, and it's our fault. So it does come with its own issues, but ones we're learning very quickly, I would say. It's been a significant investment, and for me personally, that's been quite difficult initially to get across to other board members, the MD, to invest that money, because it's difficult to know what you're going to get back for that money. Yeah, and it's cost us a fortune, but it's well worth it. We'll get that back in 2 years, tenfold our investment. Yeah, I don't know if this is a con, I suppose. Everyone has to deal with it. I suppose the more wide open you are, you're open to more criticism. We deal with the public, as many businesses do, and the more public you deal with, the more open to criticism you are. It stands to reason. But we deal with that. We have, on the back of that, we've got a resolutions department now. Who would have thought at an auction house in Oldham? We've got our own resolutions department. So, yes, I see it more as feedback as opposed to criticism. And another con, or is it a pro? It's a lot of hard work. But yeah, it's definitely, if anyone's making those first steps from small business to SME, medium-sized business, I suppose, and they're ready to go online, it's definitely 100% worth doing. Anyway, thank you everyone. Has anyone got any questions? No?